Today's topic is consumer and it is from the fourth unit. So first let me explain you who is a consumer. Consumer is nothing but is the individual who purchases goods and services from the market for his or her end use. Okay. So consumer is the end user of the product, the one who is consuming the product. That's why we call in simple words I can say that if I'm buying a chocolate from a shop and if I'm eating it, then I'm the consumer of that particular product. There's always a huge difference between consumer and customer. A customer is the one who purchases the product and he might sell the product. At the same time, consumer does not sell the product. He consumes the product for himself. And the price of the product is paid by the customer. At the same time, a consumer may pay the price or he may not pay the price. So these are the difference between customer and consumer. Next thing is consumer interest. Every customer shows inclination towards particular product and services. Consumer interest is nothing but the willingness to purchase the product. Consumers' willingness to purchase the product, whether the consumer is interested towards our product or not. So that is what we call as consumer interest. If I'm going to a bookstall and if I'm attracted towards a book and if I'm willing to purchase that particular book, then I can say that I had interest on that book. So that next thing is consumer behavior. And the consumer behavior is nothing but it is a process of study of how individuals or groups how do they to satisfy their needs and desires. Okay, so how an individual person is selecting a product, he is purchasing a product, and he is disposing a product in order to satisfy his needs and desires. That is consumer behavior. You see people's buying behavior change over a period of time because during the festive season people buy a lot and during the other season they don't do that. And during the salary employees what they do is during the time of salary they buy a lot and at the month end they won't buy much. Okay, so that is how the purchase consumer behavior changes over the period of time. It is nothing but the buying behavior of individuals. Okay, who influences a customer to buy a product? First thing is there are different influences by which a consumer might trigger to buy a product. First thing is internal influences. Internal influences in the sense his own influence, like his personality, his motivation, his lifestyle, and to buy a product. At the same time, there are some external influences like his friends, family, his brand's advertising, promotion. He might have liked the product. He might have liked the price of the product. He might have liked the service of the product, maybe due to his convenience. So these are the external factors and organizational influences. How organizational influences in the sense how a company influences the customer to buy the product. So these are the organizational influences, and there are some external technological things, political, cultural, demographic, family, and the word of mouth, situational factors. All these are external influences. So these are the three influence particular product. So there are three main things in consumer behavior: obtaining, using, and disposing. First, we'll see about obtaining. So obtaining in the sense before, then the next thing is how do they decide when to buy the product and where to buy the product? How can I pay for the product? How do I take it to their home? So these are the things like obtaining information regarding the product and its things. Okay, so that is what is obtaining. Next thing is consumption. After purchasing the product, how is he using the product? How do they store the product in their home? Who is using the product? How how are they using the product? Whether they are using it in a rush manner or whether they are using it occasionally. Okay. How do they did the product satisfy their expected expectations? So this is called as conception. And the next thing is disposal. So disposing is nothing but how do they dispose the remaining product? Is it, for example, if the product is a hazardous product, then they might dispose it in a safe manner, like they can use recycle bins and all those things for disposing the product. And if it is an degradable one in the sense, they can, but there are other methods which has to be used. Okay, and how do they throw away after use? So how much is thrown away, whether they are using the product or whether they are wasting it. Okay. So how they recycle the product? Are they recycling the product or they are not recycling it and throwing it? Okay. So these things comes under disposal. So that's all for today's class. Thank you.